Operation Attleboro began on September 14, 1966, in Tay Nin Province, northwest of Saigon. The operation was launched by the 196th Light Infantry Brigade with the objective of locating and destroying supply bases used by the People's Army and Viet Cong forces operating in War Zone C. By late October, the brigade had uncovered hundreds of tons of rice near the Dao Tieng district. The discovery confirmed that large enemy stockpiles existed in that area. Orders were issued to move north toward the Ba Hao stream, 7 kilometers northwest, to locate any additional supply sites. On the morning of November 3, 1966, 2 battalions moved north through dense jungle toward the Ba Hao. At the same time, companies from 1st Battalion, 27th Infantry were inserted by helicopter into blocking positions south of the stream. Additional units remained in reserve at Tay Nin. The operation began to unravel before noon. A Viet Cong force of unknown size attacked the Western Blocking Company in tall elephant grass. The company commander was killed early in the engagement. Casualties mounted quickly. Reinforcing companies moved toward the sound of gunfire but encountered mines, booby traps, and sniper fire along the way. By late afternoon, American units were separated in dense jungle with limited communication and no clear link-up plan. Heat and humidity exhausted the troops. Water resupply became urgent. Nightfall found U.S. forces consolidated into 2 separate perimeter positions several kilometers apart. Unbeknownst to the American forces, the Viet Cong occupied prepared bunker positions near the Ba Hao, less than 500 meters from the American perimeter. At first light on November 4th, the battle intensified. Diversionary mortar attacks struck Tay Nin Base and the outpost at Suede to the south, causing confusion and communications damage. But the main effort remained near the Ba Hao. As American companies advanced through heavy woods, they entered interlocking fields of fire from reinforced bunker positions. Concrete and log-covered fighting positions were concealed by dense jungle. Machine guns opened fire at close range. Attempts to flank the positions failed. Artillery support was requested but proved ineffective against fortified bunkers. Casualties increased. Members of the battalion command group were hit. Reinforcements moved toward the fight throughout the afternoon. A company from another battalion landed nearby but was met with immediate fire. The company commander was killed shortly after landing. Later, Lieutenant Colonel William Barat, moving forward to assess the situation, was also killed while attempting to reach the engaged units. The battlefield had become fragmented. Separate elements were fighting in close proximity, but could not safely support one another with artillery or direct fire. Throughout the night of November 4th, attempts were made to break through to isolated companies. Both efforts failed. Additional casualties were sustained in darkness while maneuvering against fortified positions. Senior commanders monitored the situation closely. Major General William Dupuy of the 1st Infantry Division arrived to assess conditions. After reviewing the disposition of units and the day's events, he prepared to assume control of the operation. On November 5th, Major Malloy organized a coordinated effort to reach the trapped company. Additional companies from 27th Infantry were inserted into his perimeter. By midday, Captain Robert Garrett led an attack that finally broke through enemy positions and reached the isolated survivors. Extraction followed. Under artillery cover, units disengaged company by company. Helicopters evacuated forces back to Dao Tieng and Tay Nin. On November 6th, U.S. elements returned to the battlefield to recover the remaining dead. The 3-day engagement ended without decisive control of the area. American losses for the battle totaled 60 killed and 159 wounded, most of them from units of the 27th Infantry. Enemy casualties were reported in the hundreds. though precise numbers remained uncertain. The ambush near the Ba Hao marked the first sustained engagement between large United States forces and the North Vietnamese 9th Division in that sector of War Zone C. With the 1st Infantry Division now assuming operational control, Operation Attleboro was far from finished. By the evening of November 5th, Major General William Dupuy and the 1st Infantry Division had assumed control of Operation Attleboro. The fight near the Ba Hao stream had exposed a large North Vietnamese presence in War Zone C. Dupuy believed the 9th Division was still in the area. Rather than conduct slow, sweeping jungle patrols, he intended to locate the enemy quickly and destroy him with concentrated firepower. On November 6th, 1st Division battalions were airlifted north into suspected enemy base areas. Heavy artillery and airstrikes preceded each landing. Contact came almost immediately. One battalion inserted into jungle recently vacated by the 196th Brigade. 2 more were landed 10 kilometers farther north. A Special Forces strike force operating nearby had already encountered elements of the 101st Regiment and taken losses. By nightfall on November 6th, American units reported firm contact. Patrols discovered shattered bunkers and enemy dead in the jungle. During the first 24 hours, U.S. losses were 1 killed and 23 wounded. Enemy dead were estimated at over 170. On the morning of November 8th, 1st Battalion, 28th Infantry established a perimeter in a savanna clearing northeast of Suede. Before dawn, listening posts reported movement outside the lines. Just before first light, concealed North Vietnamese troops opened fire. A company from the 101st Regiment launched a frontal assault against the northern edge of the perimeter. Claymore mines detonated along the outer defensive ring, breaking the initial attack. Mortars and artillery followed. A second assault struck the western flank. Fighter bombers arrived overhead as daylight improved visibility. Company commanders were hit during the engagement. Captain Euripides Rubio moved forward to reposition a smoke grenade that had landed near friendly lines. He was killed while marking the target for an incoming airstrike. He would later be awarded the Medal of Honor. The assault continued for several hours. By late morning, the attacking regiment began to disengage. American forces counted more than 300 enemy dead in the area, with additional bodies discovered the following day. Throughout mid-November, Dupuy employed methodical search techniques combined with concentrated firepower. Artillery, fighter bombers, and B-52 arc light strikes were used against suspected regimental positions. By November 25th, organized contact had largely ceased. Operation Attleboro officially concluded on November 25, 1966. United States intelligence later estimated enemy losses at approximately 1,000 killed. North Vietnamese accounts acknowledged significant casualties but claimed lower figures. Allied losses totaled 155 killed and 494 wounded. Operation Attleboro marked the first large-scale test of the United States Army's search and destroy doctrine in Vietnam. Massive bombardment followed by helicopter insertions and ground sweeps would become a pattern in future operations, including Cedar Falls and Junction City. The operation demonstrated the scale of enemy logistics in War Zone C and the ability of North Vietnamese units to absorb losses, disengage, and return. When American forces withdrew from the area, Viet Cong political networks gradually re-established influence in Tay Nin Province. Operation Attleboro ended as a tactical success with significant enemy losses and supply disruption.